All right, I think we're live. Let me get a sip of my water. Get my radio voice going. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness. And if you guys would, be sure you click the like when you roll in. Let's get some questions going. I'm going to be positive, upbeat, cheerful. Answer your question today. We're not going to put up with nonsense. I'm block it and move on. That's it. Also, a little side note, don't mention channels that make videos about me. They're not part of my world. Like, people jump in and say, this person, XYZ, whatever, is, because there's like 57 of them, is your enemy. They're not my enemy. They don't even exist to me. Right? They're not part of my world. They're just haters who make videos. It's not an enemy. All right. I don't even know their names. They don't even have real names. So it means they're not people. All right. So let's talk about some training. Get over to these questions. There's only one like. You guys, I'm only going to say this one time. Click the like button, guys. There's like 9 of you watching. There's 2 of you commenting and only 1 like. Come on. Thoughts on doing 2 sets per exercise instead of 3? It has its place. I do that sometimes. I mean, I do that sometimes. It depends on what you're doing with your total volumes, with your workloads, what you're trying to do with progression. There are many cases where it's perfectly viable to do 2 really hard sets of an exercise instead of 3. 3 is kind of is a baseline. Okay, that's a baseline. Some cases, for some exercises, you can extend that up to do 5 sets. Some cases, you might drop it down to 2. Again, if you're going to do 2 really hard sets of that, right? I don't like supersetting on upper days. Is it okay to do my chest press movements first and my back? Sure, that's perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine, right? If that's how you want to do it. The reason I superset is that it lets you get more volume in a shorter time when doing opposing muscle groups. It's a little better for conditioning. That's it. Wider stance. Honestly, Atomic, I do think the wider stance is best for my knees long term. So if I can make it work, I need to make it work. And I'm still going to do like the belt squats to build my quads up. What you see, I'm doing 3 sets of 20 at the end on that. So it should be fine. But I want to work on getting that depth with the wider stance because it does have more power potential. In a lot of cases, it can give you a longer shelf life on heavy lifting. I think Winning does kind of have a point with that when he brings that up. What's the best program to do after reaching intermediate on your novice program, specifically for muscle building? Caleb, all good programs focus on muscle building. At that point, it might be time to consider looking into, a little bit of custom programming instead of cookie cutter stuff. All right, I have a lot of stuff out there. You can't hire a coach, right? I got a lot of stuff. But I think conjugate-based programs are probably a very good start for you there. Okay. Darko asked, if someone does only 8 sets per week per muscle, would doing it 8 sets once per week be viable? If you're going to do it that way, right? If you're going to do it that way, it's possible. I think it's going to come down to preference at this point, honestly. What's a major cause of lower back injuries on the deadlift? I think touch and go is the number 1 cause. Behind that, weak hamstrings. I'm not going to go into cardio. I'm not doing any cardio on camera, so I'm not going to discuss it. I'm doing very little cardio at the moment anyways. It's too hot. I'm going to deal with it. In this heat, I would rather work or sleep. What do you mean? Do I think Steve Shaw is natural? I'm not going to cover how to spot a fake natty. Does Steve even claim that? Steve better not be claiming natural. Come on. Steve claims natural. Steve Shaw, like Massive Iron Steve Shaw, who used to be friends with me at one time. He's claiming natural. You know what? I'm sure people will link this over to Steve. Steve, maybe you should be nice to me if you don't want me to discuss conversations we had back when we were friends. All right. Checking in, Coach. Now, let me give you guys a bicep shot. I'm sorry, dude. That threw me for a loop that Steve is claiming natural. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You know what? I'm going to be nice. Things said in private between two men should probably stay private. I don't know nothing about home brewing or, where he used to get his raw materials or any of that. I don't know shit about it. All right. Is your weight stable? Yeah, my weight's been pretty stable. Jason, please set the record straight. Is fitness your passion? It's one of. I love music too. Any experience using AT205 reseal to prevent minor oil leaks? Nope. Do you think that Allenthal will do? No. Why would you assume that? That seems like a weird direction to go with that. Like, I don't dislike Allen, by the way. I hope no one gets that impression. I don't hold any negative views of Allenthal. Like, I don't see Allen as a bad guy in the industry. There's a lot of bad people. There's a lot of shady people in this industry. I don't think Allen is one of them, Is there any place for lat pull down in the strength routine? Yes. I prescribe lat pull downs to some of my lifters. Come on. Coach knows a lot about these YouTubers. He's been around a long enough time. I mean, people forget. A lot of people forget that they used to buddy up to me who out there and say things, and they need to remember things they've told me about their specific drug stacks and their home brewing and how they like to make their own gear. People need to, what their contest prep stacks are. I think people need to remember some of this stuff. Coach, 3 presses and 3 pulls plus arms and delts good for upper volume day. I don't know that you need 3 different presses always. Do you really always need that many? That's only if you're doing, that's a lot. Jason, do you think 300 pounds overhead press is strong or will help bench press? I don't think it carries over to bench that well at all, to be honest. Do I think a 300-pound overhead press is strong? Yes, it's strong. Hell yes, that's strong. Like, Marcel, step back and assess that question. Do you know how rare a 300-pound strict press is? Like straight up overhead press. You're talking not using leg drive. You just asked me if that's strong. I don't know, man. Is a 450 bench strong? Is a 700 deadlift strong? That's the level of question you just asked. No, I don't think it carries over to bench that well. Just going off my experience. I used to believe different. I have over the years observed it's just really not the case. Why do longevity doctors claim building muscle is good for longevity then promote fasting? Most longevity doctors don't promote fasting. Only the quacks promote fasting. You will see other medical doctors who will tell you that exact same thing I just said. All right. Do you think about doing conjugate and starting with 8 sets per week and adding 2 sets of whatever muscles don't respond? You're asking me nuances of programming at a high pace. thing. I don't know. I don't do well with talking those things out loud. That's stuff I need to actually look down at a spreadsheet. I think Alan Thrall is one of the only true natties in YouTube. Do you agree? I'm actually kind of inclined to agree with you. He may be the only, and I do mean that, he may be the only actual natural in YouTube fitness. I think it's actually probable that he is natty. And it's rare. You're almost never going to hear me say that. Now that I know that that is a hater word, bye-bye. As an oil field driver who has little access to equipment, what do you recommend I do to make or maintain gains while on station? Take stuff with you. Take stuff with you. I mean, Power, did you just miss my intro to where I asked you guys not to discuss any of those people at all? Or I'm just going to get rid of you? Did you miss that part? These people don't exist in my world. Stop talking about them on my channel. They don't even have real names. What was your 1 rep max on overhead press? The most I've ever hit, 227 and a half. I did 225 at least 15 times on camera on different days. I did 227 and a half once, and quite frankly, I don't care about the press anymore. Yeah, that's what I think. Atomic Allen's not talking about going and competing in bodybuilding. He's just changing his training up a little bit. Is being truly natty a real badge of honor to brag about anyways? No. No. Will there any girls on the rigs? No, Jamie. You know what, Darko, you're right. And that is an appropriate criticism of me. I actually used the word natural, and that just slipped out that way. It's a bad habit and bad. I punished myself. I will be careful to not use the word natural again because I know it's a stupid ass word. I apologize to you guys. I have been properly punished for my transgression. Bad coach. Gerald, it is okay. Gerald, I don't know how else I can reiterate this. As per the other live streams, it is as hot as the fucking seventh circle of hell here right now. You couldn't fucking pay me enough to get out and push a prowler. Okay, I do it for $1 million. Barring that, I'm not doing that shit, dude. I'm sorry, dude. I'm just not. Dude, I am in Houston right now. I'm not doing it. I'm too old for that shit. Okay. You did a video about maxing on the classic lifts every week. You thought of just doing the training maxes and speed work with the classic lifts. Honestly, I think you're going to have overuse real quickly if you're not careful doing that. My body is all natural, organic, grass-fed, hormone-free, unless you take vitamin D. Vitamin D is a hormone. Yes, Gerald, I was doing GPP in the winter. It's a matter of fact. I was weight vest walking every morning before the sun was up for a while. Coach, what's your opinion on skipping DE and doing volume work instead? I think that you need to watch your recovery closely. I mean, it's doable in some cases. I think the speed work works really well from a recovery and practice perspective, though. Would you prefer if push-pull meets were more popular than powerlifting meets? I don't know. Maybe. My weight is, I don't understand your question, Carly. What do you mean? Is it more stable? Are you asking me to go back and check all my notes and find my weigh-ins? I mean, I don't know. It's going to assess that versus then. It's pretty stable right now. But I don't feel like that's a factor. Like I don't understand why people think cardio is this amazing weight shifting tool. It really isn't. No, Darko, I don't feel like it's affected it at all. Hey, Chris, I can't really help you with trauma in a live stream, brother. Sorry. There are people who specialize in that. The best way to deal with trauma is to go through therapy. I mean, I've had my share of therapy and stuff over all of it. Why do some people, including carnivore guys, say that beef is a better source of protein than chicken or fish? Is this true? It's not based upon anything. It's not true in any shape, form, or fashion. So why are they saying it? I have no idea. I have no idea why people are saying that. Coach, do you ever, okay, the key word is ever, not asking if I do it all the time, program assistance or accessory work in 3-week waves and conjugate rotating these after 3 weeks? Yes, sometimes. If you had to guess, how much chicken are you consuming a day? At least a pound. Used to talk about writing an ebook. I think it would sell well. One day I will write the intro to that ebook, man. It might be this year. It might be in 12 years. I will sit down one day and maybe write the first sentence. Thus far, I have not done it. Do you think you will ever conduct academic research into strength training? Why would you think that I would do that? That seems like a really random question. Have I expressed an interest in pursuing an advanced degree somewhere that I missed? I don't know why that question came from. Who do you think is the more honest fitness YouTuber, Alanthal or Alpha Destiny? Alanthal, definitely. I mean, I don't know what Alex does these days, and I want to be clear. I have no idea what he's doing. I have no idea what his thing is, but he had fake lifts in the day. He got caught on fake lifts. He got caught with some fake lifts. He did. So that's dishonest. I mean, in terms of actual verifiable stuff, and we all knew that back then. And maybe that's the only dishonesty he did. It might be. But I mean, in terms of a professional thing, I mean, fake lifts are kind of a big deal when you're marketing strength and muscle and everything. It's kind of a big deal. I mean, so Jeff Cavalier did the same thing, right? Athlean X. Is it okay to eat a lot of watermelon? How many pounds? I don't know how many pounds per week is fine. Yes, it's okay to eat a lot of watermelon. Watermelon's a very nutritious food. It's very healthy. Is the Texas State Lottery high? I think so. I don't know. Would you agree with Duran Rudder's carb the F up mentality? I don't know. Could you explain it to me in detail? I think we should eat a lot of carbs. If that's what it means, then yeah, I'm going to agree with it. I thought since strength training is your passion, you could contribute to academia. Again, what does this have to do with conducting research? Coach, what was your basis when you first began lifting? I don't know. I don't even remember what year I began lifting. I don't even remember what year I started lifting, let alone what my basis were. I don't know. Something, some weight. Who the fuck knows? I mean, it's kind of like, 4 years ago, back in my day when I first walked into the gym, we bench pressed 12 stone. Some antiquated number that, in the middle of the Gettysburg Address, before we had cell phones. Why do you guys ask me stuff from that far back? Bros, I'm 46. My memory fades on things like that. I don't actually remember what year I started working out. All right. Gardening. I hate gardening, by the way. You probably knew that because I've said that before. Thoughts on potassium citrate added to drinking water? Maybe. A 40 plus. Do you really think it's a number that low? We're not even in the right number of digits. You could conduct research to try and solidify them in research. Okay, Jamie, but I'm not a researcher and I don't have an advanced degree, so why would I be involved in that? I would have to go back to school to do this and take time away from my business and passions and all of that stuff. I'm not interested. Jamie, I think never mind. Dude, I'm just done. I don't got time for this shit. Gerald, I think you missed my comment. How important is it to raise your pulse every day? Probably a good idea. What psoriasis cream do you use to keep it under control? I wish to keep a beard as thick as you to cover my patchy skin. It's very difficult even with this amount of beard, by the way. And no, I can't keep it clear even with this beard. It actually is very, very, very difficult just to get away with what I have. I find the only thing that really helps is hydrocortisone cream. That's about it, dude. What's with the organ meat crazy these days, like Liver King? Seems like total BS. It is total BS. It is total BS. I don't understand why they do it either. Your guess is as good as mine. How much magnesium do you take? Currently, I'm not supplementing any. My diet's got enough magnesium that I'm not worried about. Coach, what do you think of young women trending more and more? Nobody, I don't really have thoughts on that. I'm not going to discuss politics to any great extent. I don't care enough these days, to be honest with you. I mostly care about lifting weights, getting people strong, playing the guitar, living my life. I actually don't keep up with politics as much as you guys would think that I do. I think people, because I used to have political views, they think that I am really like political. I really am not these days. Like the entire topic at this point to me of politics in general is almost just soul destroying. Like I only keep up with it enough to vote, and that's about it. If someone wanted to go down the rabbit hole of truly peaking for a powerlifting meet, do you think periodizing RPE training can drive neurological adaptations more than conjugate? Not necessarily. Evening, folks. I'm late for the party as usual. That's all good, man. Jump on in. Gerald, I honestly don't care. Do whatever you want with your pulse rate. It's one of these weeks where cardio is just a boring topic to me. And it's not that I don't ever do cardio or haven't had phases where I do a lot of it. I just don't feel like discussing cardio right now. You can Google the answers to that stuff. And I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just, it's just how I feel about it today, this week, this month. And do whatever you want, man. Do whatever you want. Or Alex's fate. Well, that overhead press was the big one. I mean, we could argue with some of the deadlifting nonsense of trying to claim that they carried over, when he really basically had a 500 deadlift at the time, which is for his weight and everything, that was actually a respectable number. But, the 700 high handles trap bar when he could really only pull 500, conventional, and then having to strap up to pull anything over 5. That's what I was, some of that, but I mean, it's not really fake. That's not fake, right? But the overhead press was. Are zinc supplements? No, I don't recommend you supplement with zinc at all, ever. Got it. Thanks, Jason. Just something that popped up. Seems like the country is very divided on all fronts. Yeah, that's definitely the thing, and that's my biggest problem with politics right now. It's turned into such a anyone who disagrees with me is the enemy, instead of people saying, hey, maybe we should have some common ground and maybe have a better country and a better world. Nobody's willing to work together at all in any way, and it's become so polarized. And literally, these are the list of topics, and either you agree with us on all 17 of these points, right? Or you're the enemy. You're evil if you don't agree with us with all 17 of these points of virtue. Malik, I appreciate that. Tips for young men to attract more women. Get your life together. Take care of your business. Be fit, be confident, be financially stable. That's it. Jason Stevell says he's natural. Bro. Hell. Do you think that politics have hindered your channel growth? I noticed many of your peers have had crazy growth. Politics probably didn't help me. I think Alex is much more mature. He was just an insecure kid. Nobody. I agree with that, and I think that's the totality of it, which is why I'm not going to really trash on the kid. I mean, he's even a kid anymore. So what year is this? 2020. How old is he now? You look back at things someone was doing that far back, and you look at it today and say, does it really matter? I don't think it does. What was he doing 5-6 years ago or whatever? He's grown and matured since then, most likely. So it's not like something any of us need to worry about. For a drug-free lifter, at what point does gaining muscle not benefit longevity? No, I don't think that's really an issue for you. Jason, I'm glad you called out YouTubers. University claim you should take all the weight off the bar just because there's 1 millimeter. Yeah, that's insane. Look, I know lots of strength coaches and experts in the field who think his stuff is a joke in that regard. It just is. Sorry again to ask, but have questions. Have you ever been through a fire, earthquake, hurricane? Any tips on how to deal with the loss? Chris, like I said, dude, that's where therapy comes in. I don't know enough about you as a person to give you real advice there, man. I mean, that's kind of a therapy type question. I mean, if you were someone who I really knew as a friend, and knew your personality, I could probably give you advice on some of that. I mean, I've been through tragedies. I've been through a lot of things. I've been through a lot of trauma, but I've also gone to therapy and stuff for some of it too. So it's just stuff to consider. And I'm sorry you've gone through that. I'm very sorry to hear that. But, I don't know necessarily what advice to give you, brother. Any plans to grow your channel? Think the gold play button is realistic? What's the requirement for the gold play? I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, my channel started growing again. Actually, since I started doing lives again, my subscriber count has gone up. I'm going to let it do what it's going to do, though. I don't have specific plans. I'm like, I'll do my lives. Lives seem to always help the growth. Do some current events. I'm sure it'll start growing again. Do you find it harder to sleep at night? How much of the ACs help? It helps. I keep a fan on high. Do you ever plan to bring back pull-ups or chins? Or are you done with them forever? Darko, I think it would be unwise for me to try them again. At this point, I don't need them to maximize my back development. All they do is beat my shoulders up. And I can build as much back as I want with rows. So the question becomes, why would I bother? Look how far my bench has come. Look how far my bench has come just since I stopped putting my arms up over my head. I don't want to give that up. Can you play Lightning Crashes on the guitar? I haven't heard that song in 25 years. I do know who sings it. It's on an album called Throwing Copper. Who is the band? Yeah, I have no interest in learning it though. What temperature do you keep your AC? Ooh, so I know that's a little high, dude. You're doing that shit at 74. I like it about 70. I like it cold. I'm getting too old for that Bobby heat. Too old for this stuff, man. I know it sounds funny for me to say that. Darko, why you got to be the fake Darko? You're asking stuff like this. Let me double check, make sure. I got to do this all the time with people using your name. Let's see if you're the real Darko. Why is the real Darko asking that? Why were you asking a ban-worthy question? Is the real Darko knowing people are going to do that? Like that's not an appropriate conversation. Seriously, dude. Man, that just ruined my day. One of my regular good posters is just acting like a fucking troll. I was having a good day up until now in this live stream. Man, like why would you ask something like why would people even think of stuff like that? You are fucking weird. Coach went from 3x5 training to 3x12 sets a day on squat. Thought I was going to throw up in the gym. Was not easy for no question. I just got to start doing some cardio to stop that. Well, or you could just get used to the high rep work. That would help. A little GPP would help. I mean, my cardio is pretty minimal right now just due to the heat, and I do sets of 20. I don't like belt squats, deal with it. Everybody frantically Googling what the fuck 70F is in Celsius. I know, right? I swear I need to just put the word troll in the filter in here so that you guys can't post a word. I can't even bother to go to your store to eat. I just want to hear everything. All right. What's the best muscle for attracting women? Wallet extensions, dude. Wallet extensions. All right. Coach, can you make a video discussing Brett Contreras' recently new glute medius hip thrust exercise, the first free weight and progressive overload exercise for the glute medius? I don't even need to go see this. It's probably gimmicky. I mean, look at it this way. Look how much he overhyped the hip thrust and the glute bridge. And it turns out that they're okay exercises. They're not even the be-all, end-all for glutes. They're not even technically better than squats for glutes when we study it. Actual hypertrophy. Are they good exercises? Sure. But it's kind of like we're at a point where, if you're really going to look at evidence, or you're really going to take every new gimmick that Brett comes out seriously, he's already multiple times kind of overhyped some stuff. And I'm not saying they're bad exercises; they're good exercises. But he's gone with one gimmick and gone too far. I mean, how many decades are you going to get away with selling glute specialty? All right. Emperor, that's a messed up question. Like, what a man. Again, where do you people come up with these bizarre ideas? Do you think that your wife being 28 is too old to have healthy children? I don't even think you're actually married posting something like that. And I know you don't want your wife to see that if you really are. Right? Come on, bro. You're not actually married. All right. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, guys, do we really need new exercises for the glutes? Do we not know how to build glutes at this point? I mean, really? Do we not know how to build glutes? We know how to build glutes. Heavy squats or deep squats in general. Hip hinges, okay? Darko, I'm going to let it slide because normally you are a good poster, and the trolls really like to imitate you a lot, which is why it threw me off. For a minute, I thought it was one of them. Yeah, let's not go there. I can't wait for the next scam device from the fitness influencers. Some funny ones like the frog fitness from a heart. Dude, that was great. And that's the thing, man, is that people buy this stuff year after year after year after year. These people could sell anything. They can sell anything. They really can. Oh, fitness industry. Best stem-free pre-workout. Why do you need a pre-workout? Eat some carbs. Drink some coffee. Bam, done. All right. They're always selling something. Dude, I see so many just goofball scam products in my social media feed all day long. Right? All day long, guys. Just popping in to say thanks for the info. Helped me a lot in my 20s. You're most welcome, brother. Colin, yes, I have gotten offers to promote devices. Nonsense. They get sent to my Facebook page, actually, and my Instagram. These companies, they'll be like, we want you to promote our product. And it's some garbage. It's like I've seen some of the worst ones, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding. Did you even look at my page? Did you look at what I do in my training before you sent me this? Of course you did. Can someone maximize gains with zero supplements? I mean, maybe, probably, possibly. But, look, there are supplements that can benefit your health. Use the few that benefit your health. Like, I don't think it's a problem. Like, why do we need this other extreme? I mean, there are a few supplements that help your health that can benefit you and do things. So the question becomes, why do you need to take that extreme and say, well, no supplements at all, I'm never going to take any vitamin D, never going to take creatine? Because, just because the industry itself is largely scams doesn't mean there aren't some things that are beneficial to your health. You know what I'm saying, bro? Better to work out morning or night. Depends on what you prefer personally. I can't stand the pre-workout obsession these days, such a scam. I agree. To be fair, the Rex again, it actually is. Okay, and all joking aside, even though they sent me the thing for free and their website got all hit and attacked and everything by all this nonsense, they still gave me a free massager that was great. And to be honest, it still works and I still use it. Like, all joking aside, that was years ago. It still works. And it's still a good massager. Like, all right. Do you think SSB squat with handles set high is good for biasing quads? What do you mean biasing quads? It's a squat. Coach, is back pumps on high rep squats normal? No, your back's out of shape. What do you think about training muscles below the knee? Heard of a tip bar? I don't do any calf work. Chris, no, I've not played any team sports. Kane, I will not be discussing at all the specifics of future competitions, and I'm not going to explain why again. We don't need to go into that. You guys know that I don't discuss it. I haven't discussed it in years ahead of time, other than one event that I got sick and couldn't do. Does the 17 alpha estradiol and dianabol fulfill the biological functions of regular E2? Yes, but keep in mind two points with it. It's a reduced estrogen, number one, so it binds weaker, but it also stays in the bloodstream longer because it retains the 17 alpha alkylated molecule on it, so it has a much longer half-life in the bloodstream, but it does bind to the estrogen receptor more weakly. Thoughts on Cali muscle protein, only eating watermelons and no other food? King, I tell you what I'm going to do. Watch this. Here's how awesome I am. I'm going to build a time machine. As soon as this video is done, I'm going to go back in time and make a video and upload a video on that yesterday. Next level skills right there. Watch. It's going to happen too. You're going to be amazed. It's going to appear yesterday. Just because you asked me just now. How's that for awesome? Do you have any experience with lifters regularly straining neck muscles when benching? How to avoid? No, not regularly. Quit jamming your neck into the bench. There you go. And if it's too big of an issue, then start doing neck extensions with a harness to get your neck stronger. Coach, any good games lately? Nope. You guys already know what happened. What brings in more clients, your YouTube channel or Facebook page? YouTube brings in more, but Facebook has brought some clients, but the majority have been from YouTube. Any plans on live streaming some video games sometime just to hang out with us? Well, I'd have to play some video games again for that to be a possibility, and that would cut into my guitar time. Are you familiar? I'm somewhat familiar with John Cena. All right. Thoughts on mixing Diet Coke with instant coffee as a cheap pre-workout? You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that and market it, and I need to come up with a name for it. We're gonna call it Hypey Coke. Typically, how many hours of sleep do you get per night? About 9. I already have sleep apnea at around 15-20% body fat because my neck is huge. I don't want to make it any bigger. Okay, then you have to just quit jamming your head into the bench. Do you think hair loss products like minoxidil or finasteride mess up testosterone and strength? I think they mess with DHT, and that can have its own set of problems. Right? Louis, $2 is still, that's right, man. It all adds up. How long before bed should I cut off my caffeine? I cut mine off about 8 in the morning. And remember Tyrone's protein shake video. I think it's not as good. I remember Tyrone's protein shake. Is there such a thing as getting too much sleep? Yes. That's a whole separate topic. You will need to go digging through psychology research on if you want to know more. All right, where are we at? We're at 44 minutes. We have 44 minutes, and this has been winding down a little bit. All right. But it's time to wind this down. I hope it's been informative. I love all you guys and gals. And I will talk to you next time.